The Baltimore Ravens drop to 7-8 on the season as they lose to the New England Patriots 24-28 on Sunday Night Football. This on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Guys, look, it's not a good day. It's not a good day. It is over for the 2025 Baltimore Ravens. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is the honest to God truth that I am here to deliver to you guys today. It's over with. It's done. It's done. Chike making it rain here with the super chat donation. I appreciate you, Chike. Says, have this super chat on me. F the Ravens, brother. Yeah, we gave this one away. You know, you had a double-digit lead. I understand Lamar Jackson left the game early, which I'll get into. But this game at home, there was no excuse to drop this game in the fashion that the Ravens did down the stretch of it. There was no reason for it. No reason at all. You know, second half, I really thought that this Ravens team was going to be able to run the ball effectively and really kind of salt the game away that way. Even though it was a tie game, you know, I just thought at home they'd be able to, you know, pound the rock. And it seemed like they were going to be able to do that. But a couple of mistakes here and there is what totally turns the game around. I mean, if we back up to the first quarter, I mean, the Ravens offense was moving the football. They score a touchdown on their first drive. Their second drive, they go down, and Derrick Henry fumbles the football. In the entire game, all of the momentum in this game, everything gets flipped on its axis in a moment's notice. And all of a sudden, it goes from, you know, all happy days, happy feelings for this Ravens team. And, you know, we're obviously going to be blowing them out now, right? We're going to get ahead of the sticks. We're going to get up 2-3 possessions, right? No. It grounded us. And the Ravens never recovered. And to be honest with you, this game today was a kind of a, I guess you could say, it was a, it kind of told the story for how this season has gone. Like, it kind of touched on, you know, this Ravens team. Yeah, we've had good times. We've had times where we felt like, you know, we were on top of the world and we were going to actually turn things around and actually start to make a run. But then right after that, we did some fuck shit, right? And we lost games. This game here tonight against the Patriots was very indicative of that behavior. I'm ashamed. We do have another super chat donation in the house. This one's coming from Void. Appreciate you, Void. So bring this up here. Void says, for malicious crimes against Ravens fans, I sentenced Zay Flowers and Harbaugh to 416 years in Impel Down. They will be experimented on by Dr. Vegapunk until they can hold on to balls, and B, use Henry. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna save my Zay Flowers rhetoric for later in the show. Zay Flowers in this game, I do have to give my props to. He was one of the only ones who was making plays, right? Which is why it's very unfortunate that this game ended up how it ended up, right? Because Zay Flowers did just enough for us to like say, okay, yeah, he's the undisputed wide receiver one going into next year, right? But also, again, just enough to knock us out of the playoffs, essentially, especially with that late game fumble. Did just enough. I mean, overall, the Ravens did just enough in this game, just enough to not make any changes going into next season. That's the sad thing. Appreciate the super chat donation, Void. We got a couple more super chat donations in the house. Let's go ahead and bring these up. Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Josh Hoffman in the chat. What's going on, Josh? Josh says, I remember when Jamal Lewis would be tearing the other team apart and we're up by 11 and we would sit him down for the fourth quarter. Our coaches aren't serious. Yeah, it did really feel like we went away from the run game. And again, like I said 10 minutes ago, this game was kind of like a microcosm of the struggles of the Ravens 2025 season. Like you really got to see what has been going on, and I'm kind of glad it happened in prime time, right? So the national media can really see, okay, why did Derrick Henry only get how many carries did Derrick Henry get? Let me see. Because he definitely should have gotten more. Derrick Henry got 18 carries in this game, was averaging 7 yards a carry, finished with 128 yards rushing. He definitely should have gotten more carries. Again, like Josh says here, our coaches aren't serious. If there was any time where, you know, this Ravens coaching staff would be under fire, it would be right now. Unfortunately, the Ravens are at a point where they have to win out. You have to win. You have to beat the Packers next week. And then you also have to hope the Browns beat the Steelers. That is where the Ravens are at. You got to hope the Browns beat the Steelers. Your season is in the hands of the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What the fuck is it going to take for Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, to wake up, smell the fucking coffee, and say, hey, look, maybe it's time to make a change of head coach. Maybe it's time to make a change in leadership. I don't know what it's going to take. At this point, look, we can do anything, obviously. Lamar can get hurt. We can pretty much cancel Derrick Henry out of the offensive attack when it really matters most. What are we going to do? What is the next? Why do you run it back with John Harbaugh? I do not understand it. I do not understand it. It makes no sense. It makes zero sense at all. Another super chat donation. This one's coming from Godlike Creations. Appreciate you, brother. Dropping the 10-piece donation in the chat. Says not making the playoffs is the best thing for this team. Now you cannot overlook your deficiencies like you did when you were winning. No King Henry the final 11 minutes. But we have a top 5 coach. Yeah. Let the national media tell it. I mean, look, John Harbaugh is not to blame. Look, like I said before, 5 minutes ago, I said this. The Ravens did just enough to not have to look themselves in the mirror. That's the issue. That's the issue. Because playoff hopes, they're done. 2025 is done. for the Ravens. It's over. If you're out there and you still have hope right now in this Baltimore Ravens team making the playoffs, I feel sorry for you because it's not happening. It is not happening. And like I said, the Ravens did just enough this season and in this game in particular to not want to make any changes going into next season. We're going to fire up next season with John Harbaugh, head coach, Zay Flowers, wide receiver 1, Daniel Faalele, right guard 1. It's going to be the same old song and dance. Same old song and dance, man. I'm telling you. It's insane. Another super chat donation from Jeremy here. What's going on, Jeremy? Jeremy says, I'm on your side with the Zay shit now. I'm over it. Listen, when it comes to Zay Flowers, I gave him his props early in the game. You know, he was all over the field, making shit happen. But when the going gets tough and you really need this Ravens team to, you know what I mean, get you one. You know what I mean? Like, make a big play. Make something happen. Tyron, appreciate the sub, Tyron. That does when you cut back and you juke so many times for the defenders to punch the football out. Because all you're doing is just downshifting gears over and over again and giving these professional athletes who have been busting their ass their entire lives to get to this point, to play professional football, to be able to bring these guys down to the open field. You're giving them ample opportunity to get up on you and punch that football out. And for the umpteenth time this season, we've seen that happen. It's not even just like it's not a schematic thing. You can't even say it's a schematic thing at this point. You have to put that solely, strictly upon Zay Flowers. You have to. Where else do you put that? Where else do you place that blame? Can you argue the Ravens game was over with by that time anyway? Sure, you can. But this is not the first time this season where Zay Flowers has literally ended our chances at coming back and winning a game. It's a size thing. He's just quite simply not big enough. Every time I see a defender tracking him down from behind, I get concerned because I know they are going to punch that football out. And that's it. It's going to be over with. Lord have mercy. I'm embarrassed, man. I'm embarrassed. Love y'all forever with another super chat donation. Appreciate you. With a 2-piece in the chat, it says low IQ players with a low IQ coach. John Harbaugh, he's going to get shot some bell. You know, nobody is going to blame John Harbaugh for this loss. Right? You know, John Harbaugh has, the biggest benefit of the doubt this season. The hugest benefit of the doubt. I mean, if we're talking about this game alone, you're talking about, your starting quarterback, your all-world quarterback, Lamar Jackson, got hurt in the first half. So we're not going to hold that against you. And then when you did have a chance with your backup quarterback, Zay Flowers fumbled the ball and really just gave the game away. You know, not that the game was totally winnable at that point. And let me just say this about Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley, I had faith. I had confidence that he could lead this team to victory. The problem was I knew that his ceiling was very, very limited. So I knew that the defense needed to make multiple stops. They needed to make multiple stops. And what could they not do? In the time of need, like they have not been able to do all freaking season, is get pressure on the goddamn quarterback. Drake May had all damn day to throw. All damn day. I mean, he's dropping back. He's patting the football. I mean, this is his second year as the signal caller for the New England Patriots. And he felt as cool as a cucumber. Comfortable. We're not knocking him off of his spot. We're not pressuring him. He's hitting his back foot. He's patting the football 2-3 times, and he's going down the field to Stephon Diggs, to Mac Hollins. What the hell are we doing? This Ravens team cannot get pressure with 4. And that has been their downfall this entire season. The entire season. The entire season. Another Super Chat donation from Void. Appreciate you, Void. Dropping the 2-piece in the chat. Says 3 fumbles and 3 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon territory. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Zay Flowers. What can we really say? You know? And I'm serious about that, right? I'm serious about that. What can we really say about Zay Flowers? Zay Flowers had let's read through his stat line. Zay Flowers finished the game with 7 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. A rushing touchdown. If you're Eric DeCosta, if you're John Harbaugh, what can you really say about Zay Flowers after that game? Yeah, he fumbled the game away. He's done it a couple of times this season. But he had a touchdown, and he had the most catches and the most yards. So what do? He did just enough. He did just enough to justify him being wide receiver 1 going into next season. John Harbaugh did just enough to justify him being the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens next season. Just enough. That's how we'll look back on this 2025 season. John Harbaugh did just enough to make sure that this Ravens team was at least competitive. They won't make the playoffs. But that's okay because they fought, and they fought hard. You know what I mean? And Steve Bisciotti's going to see that. And Steve Bisciotti's going to see, oh, well, yeah, Lamar Jackson got hurt in that game against the Patriots. That was a big game. You know, if Lamar hadn't have gotten hurt, maybe the Ravens would have won that game. We're just going to set Lamar Jackson up for more failure seasons. It's diabolical. It's diabolical. Maddie, appreciate the super chat donation. Maddie says, please look at tight end post presser live chat. Oh, the post presser live chat. I don't know what's going on in there. Let me see. What are you talking about? Well, I see the beat writers are writing here. Let's kind of read through some of this stuff. John Harbaugh said Mark Andrews was, quote unquote, acting on instinct, end quote, on his lateral attempt to in the first half. That was not the play call. Yeah, Mark Andrews, 3 years, $39 million. We're getting every penny. It's clear we're getting every penny. EDC, awesome move. Love it. John Harbaugh on the team losing control of his playoff future. Quote, I expect our team to keep fighting and try to win the next 2 games, end quote. Of course, John Harbaugh. You did just enough today. You did just enough, John. Just enough, John. That's the new word. That's the new phrase. You did just enough, John. Just enough, John. JEJ, just enough, John. Because tonight he did just enough to keep his job. Again, the whole story tomorrow is going to be Lamar Jackson left the game in the first half. That's going to be the entire story. Lamar left the game in the first half, basically left John Harbaugh out to dry. That's why the Ravens lost. Point blank, period, end of discussion. Harbaugh deserves another year. The Ravens will miss the playoffs. The Ravens will miss the playoffs because of this game. Mark my words. They're going to miss the playoffs because of this game. I told you guys, at this point, the Cleveland Browns, we have to rely on the Cleveland Browns to beat the Steelers next week if the Ravens want even just a shot at making the playoffs. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. That's it. That's it. That's it. Jesus Christ, man. Coach Harbaugh on Lamar Jackson status coming out of halftime.
Did you see if Lamar could go, and did he just at that point did you know he couldn't, or did he want to try to get back?
No, he couldn't go. Yeah, if he could have gone, he would have gone, right?
That's all.
So Lamar Jackson, he couldn't go after halftime. Again, this is going to be the prime excuse. This is going to be the prime excuse from the Ravens for them not making the playoffs this season. Oh, Lamar Jackson was banged up this year. It was just an injured Lamar Jackson season. That justifies us to run it back with John Harbaugh. Yeah. Todd Monken, Zach Orr. I'm calling out all the names. I don't give a fuck if you've been performing the past couple of weeks or sparingly here and there. I'm calling out the entire staff. I'm calling out the entire fucking staff. Every week, somebody's assignment has been, lacking. Whether it's been the offensive line, George Warhop, I'm talking to you. Again, man, the hardest thing to stomach as a Ravens fan right now is the fact that you know that the Ravens did just enough this season to justify running it back next season with the exact same coaching staff and the exact same personnel for the most part, and still going and drafting best player available is the number one priority. Like pass rush is not a priority. You saw down the stretch of this game, Drake May, second-year quarterback, should not feel that comfortable. On third downs, fourth downs, he's dropping back in the pocket, patting the football, right? Placing it over the linebackers, in between the DB. Why? How? How are you not getting pressure on this kid? You're not going to win football games like that. Draymond Jones, in the first half, I got to give credit to him. He came to play. But second half, man, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Let me see here what you guys are saying in the chat. It says I'm here for the Zay slander. John. I've had enough of John Harbaugh. I have. Y'all, sub to the channel, y'all. Please subscribe to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I know I am dejected right now. I am honestly. Oh my gosh. This is my instant reaction, my live reaction. If you're watching this in the morning, apologize to you. I don't mean to be this unhinged, but good morning to you, for one. But, the Ravens, this pretty much all but ended the Ravens season. Ravens season is over. Mog says coaches failed to invest in protecting Lamar, and it cost us the playoffs and Lamar's health. Yeah, but we won't look at it like that. The media will not look at it like that. They just won't. They'll look at it as, Lamar Jackson took off running, right? And this play style wasn't going to last him forever. That's going to be the story. That's going to be the story. Lamar Jackson took off running. Lamar Jackson is in year number 8. He got hit going down. And now he's hurt. It's not going to be, John Harbaugh doesn't have these guys coming out ready to play. John Harbaugh doesn't have these guys, making halftime adjustments. John Harbaugh doesn't have these guys, battling to the end of it. That's what the conversation is going to be like in the national media, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Void, again with the super chat donation, says round 1 O-line, round 2 interior D-line, round 3 O-line, round 4 DB, round 5 edge. I don't know at this point. Talking about the future draft picks. Let me see. Crazy homebody girl. Appreciate the sub. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about the draft, I don't know, man. I think that, again, this Ravens front office, this Ravens coaching staff, they have the pick of the litter. You can miss the playoffs. If you're John Harbaugh, you can miss the playoffs this year. If you're Eric DeCosta, you can miss the playoffs this year, and you can go into the draft with all just straight up choice. You know what I mean? Like, just all of the choices in the world. Don't feel pressured into getting a specific position group. Just go BPA. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to feel comfortable with doing. And again, the owner of the Ravens, Steve Bisciotti, this is where I think he needs to step in. Because when you see the franchise struggling in the way that it does, you have to have a conversation with either Eric DeCosta, the general manager, or B, John Harbaugh, the head coach of the team, and say, hey, look, guys, what is going on? When they do their exit interviews for this season, which I'm sure they're going to do, I would hope that Steve Bisciotti says, hey, look, why should I keep you guys employed going into next season? But guess what? Problem is, he won't. Because why? There's enough excuses. There's enough excuses to chalk up this season to just bad luck. Lamar Jackson was hurt for, 4 or 5 games early in the season. Lamar Jackson in one of the biggest games of the season against the Patriots, he got hurt in the first half. Had he not gotten hurt, the Ravens probably would have won that game. It's one of those things. Disgusting. Oh my God. I gotta breathe. I don't know about the draft selections. Void. I don't. I'm pissed off right now, though. I'm pissed. Eli in the chat. What's going on, Eli? Dropping the super chat. Appreciate that. Says this season has been a wash, to be honest, and no changes made. That's what I'm saying. There won't be any changes made. Why make changes? Lamar was hurt. You know what I mean? Lamar was hurt. Chalk it up to that. And you know what's so nasty about it all? Is that Steve Bisciotti can chalk up this season being as much of a failure as it's been. He can chalk that up to Lamar Jackson being hurt. And then at the same time, Eric DeCosta can go back and forth with Lamar Jackson and his mom and say, well, hey, maybe you don't deserve X amount of dollars because we didn't accomplish this or that this season. Like, the Ravens get the best of both worlds in this scenario. So, I mean, if there was a scenario where Lamar Jackson says, hey, look, I've had enough playing with this team. You guys aren't doing enough for me. I think I want to move on. I would not be surprised, nor would I be mad. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds like betrayal on even my behalf as a Ravens fan. But at the same time, I really cannot blame Lamar if he wanted to leave Baltimore. I couldn't blame him. I really couldn't. And it's sad to say. It's sad to say. But like you said, Eli, there will not be any changes made. There will not be any changes made at all. Why didn't they feed Henry the ball? Well, I think that, as usual, the Ravens, they get into a firefight and they get spooked and they get totally, again, spooked out of their original game plan. In the first half, in the first quarter specifically, the Ravens were controlling this game. The Ravens were controlling this football game until they turned over the football. I believe it was somewhere inside of plus territory. It might have been the red zone, but it was plus territory for sure for Derrick Henry and his Ravens team, and Derrick Henry fumbled the football. And that totally swung the entire momentum of this game. I have been saying this. I have been preaching this for the past year and a half on this channel. Turnovers are a lot more important than they seem on the surface. They just are. I've been saying this. If you turn the football over, it does not just reward the opposite team with possession of the football. It rewards them with possession of the football. It rewards them with the entire momentum of the game. It rewards them of the energy of the stadium. And even though the Ravens were at home, when Derrick Henry put that football on the ground, that changed the entire landscape of the football game. The entire landscape of the game. And the Ravens were never able to recover. Never. Whoa. I'm so fed up. I'm fed up, y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Kwame says we missed Cheeto Awuzie today. I would say we missed Nnamdi Madubuike today. That's who I would say we missed. Again, my biggest gripe with the Ravens defense in this one was where, when it mattered the most, the Ravens had no pass rush. They had no answers at pass rush. It was basically like a trial run for Drake May. Just a firing range for Drake May in this one. I don't know how many of you guys have played Call of Duty 4, where, the very first mission was just, you get a gun and you're in a firing range and you just got to shoot the targets that are in front of you. That's exactly what the Ravens gave to Drake May in this game. Down the stretch, Drake May was just so comfortable in the pocket. He had no worries about anything coming out of his peripheral vision at all. It was just shoot what is in front of you. And it was embarrassing to watch on national television. What, NBC, Peacock, Sunday Night Football. You would have just hoped that the Ravens had some heart, played with some heart at home, especially down the stretch, but they couldn't. Darren says Sutton, they had an 11-point lead in the fourth. The defense got exposed, like always. Can't close and made his first 300-yard game. Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the defense was not going to be able to hold up for the entire game. You needed the offense to sustain drives, put points on the board, and in a couple of instances, they did that, right? But at the same time, when it really came down to Tyler Huntley being able to make a couple of plays or a couple of throws down the stretch that would keep the Ravens offense on the field, he couldn't do it. I knew the entire time that a Tyler Huntley-led offense was going to be limited. It was going to be very, very limited. And, down the stretch of that second half, that's exactly what you saw. You saw an offense that, without Lamar Jackson, couldn't really make it happen. Zay Flowers, when you really, really needed one, what did he do? Like I said before, I mean, Zay Flowers can make plays here and there, but when you really, really need him to step up and be that one, that game-changing receiver, he's probably going to lose you the game. Why? Because he's undersized. He's very susceptible to getting the ball punched out. All he does when he cuts back and, is trying to be the quote-unquote human joystick, he's creating angles for defenders to come and punch the ball out. And we saw it again tonight. So it just is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Mike says, "Here we go." I'm just telling you, bro. Ain't no here we go. I'm just telling you. Zay Flowers is not the answer at wide receiver 1, but unfortunately, this coaching staff, this management will run it back again 100% with Zay Flowers as wide receiver 1 because he didn't do enough. Zay Flowers did not do enough to justify moving on from him as a wide receiver 1. The entire team, and this is the entire theme of this episode of the show. The entire theme of this episode of the show, 200 people watching live right now, is that the Ravens did just enough to not make any off-season changes. They did just enough. Because now, I mean, again, you get the excuse. It's a built-in excuse. Oh, Lamar got hurt in the first half. That's why the Ravens didn't beat the Patriots, and that's why the Ravens weren't able to make the playoffs. Oh, Lamar was hurt weeks, 4 through 7 or whatever it was, right? That's why the Ravens weren't as good as they normally were this year. Let's run it back again with John Harbaugh, Eric DeCosta. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. That's where we're at. They're not going to clean house. Somebody said in the chat they're going to clean house. Gene Bazil says Ravens should clean the house and John Harbaugh should be held accountable, and Todd Monken. These two coaches fail Lamar. Nobody's being held accountable. Because why? Think about it. Gene. Think about it. Why would you hold anybody accountable? Lamar was hurt. Lamar got hurt. We all knew. And the Ravens fought back after that. Derrick Henry did his thing, had another touchdown. The Ravens running game, the offense looked like it was doing its thing in the second half. Right? But it just wasn't enough. They couldn't make enough plays. And that the lack of that play, quote unquote, being made to have the Ravens win this game, to propel the Ravens to winning this game, that can be attributed to Lamar Jackson not playing. Lamar didn't play. That's why we couldn't finish, basically. Lamar got hurt. That's why the Ravens could not finish this game. That is the built-in excuse that this Ravens coaching staff is going to be able to use. I guarantee it. So now, again, Now, this Ravens team has to defeat the Green Bay Packers, who might or might not be quarterbacked by Jordan Love or Malik Willis. I do not know. At this point, I do not care. You just gotta win you gotta win a goddamn football game. And you now at this point, you gotta pray that Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns can beat the Steelers just to give you a chance. It's over with. Why are we even talking about it right now? Why are we even talking about it? Shit is pissing me off. The more I even discuss it, it's pissing me off. I'm disgusted by this Ravens team this season. I am. Y'all got to do y'all research on Harbs. Who got to do our research on Harbs? We already know about Harbs, man. Lamar was hurt, but you still had chances. Coaching matters. If Lamar being hurt is the end-all, be-all, then they need to acknowledge that it's the Baltimore Lamars. Yeah, but the problem is they won't do that. Steve Bisciotti, and that's my guy Cameron in the chat, Steve Bisciotti has made it clear and obvious that he attributes the recent success of the Ravens to John Harbaugh and turning this team around. In 2017, 2018, he was getting ready to fire John Harbaugh. You know, something magic happened. You know, I don't know what it might have been, but maybe it was a new quarterback. I don't know. But they got a new guy in or something. They got some new players, and all of a sudden, John Harbaugh started looking really good again. You know, and again, guys, it has seemed like ever since then, Steve Bisciotti, again, Ravens owner, he has not been really tuned into the pulse of this Ravens team and what is really going on. Because if you watch this Ravens team week in and week out, right, like you and I do, you can see that there's some of these same issues rearing their ugly heads again over and over and over. It doesn't just boil down to a Lamar Jackson injury. It doesn't just boil down to a bad call against the Steelers where Isaiah Likely should have caught, had the touchdown ruled in his favor. It doesn't just boil down to, the trivial things like that. It doesn't. It's deeper than that. But it's hard to kind of like uncover those things when the obvious answers are just right there on the surface. The obvious excuses are right there on the surface. Oh, Lamar was hurt. We all saw it. Lamar Jackson left the game in the second quarter. We all saw it. That shoots John Harbaugh some bail. Because what is he supposed to do without Lamar? It's insane. It's sad. It's sad. It really is. It really is. Let me go through some stats here. Jesus Christ, man. I really cannot. I really cannot understand this. Kyle Hamilton said the Ravens defense was hashtag or quote unquote taking on water on the Patriots go-ahead drive with every play. Finally, the dam broke. He didn't know what happened that led to Ramondre Stevenson's relatively unchallenged touchdown run, which, yeah, I mean, obviously at that point, the Ravens defense, they just didn't know what to do. They knew that it was over. They knew that the team overall, especially without Lamar Jackson, had no hope, had no life, and they were going to capitulate that game. So they just kind of bent over, gave it in. That's what they did. You can pause it if you want to, but that's exactly what happened. Kyle Hamilton acknowledged that these collapses have become a theme, in the last couple of years that the players are tired of talking about, but he understands why it will continue to be a topic of conversation. Quote, we just got to finish games, end quote. Obviously. Tyler Linderbaum said it's frustrating to be at a place where their playoff hopes are out of their hands, considering the amount of talent on this team. He said they are focused on finishing these final 2 games the right way. Well, I mean, again, at this point, playoff chances are out of your hands. You don't really have your own say. Ravens don't have their own say so in whether or not they make the playoffs, nor do they even deserve to make the playoffs. At this point, I would honestly rather prefer that the Ravens do not make the playoffs. I would prefer that the Ravens lose in embarrassing fashion to Malik Willis and the Packers next week, right? And then lose in embarrassing fashion to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who deserve to go to the playoffs, by the way. They deserve to make it. Aaron Rodgers in his 44th year of life, right? And that team who can barely run the football, right? Can barely play defense when they need to. They deserve to go to the playoffs over this Ravens team. Steve Bisciotti, wake the fuck up. Let me see. Kyle Hamilton on the Ravens dropping another important game because of turnovers on offense and a leaky defense. Quote, it's been a theme for the past couple of years. Honestly, it's frustrating to keep having the same conversation with you guys. End quote. Yeah, we were spoiled Ravens fans at the beginning of the year. I guess we're spoiled Ravens fans now as well. Tyler Huntley said Lamar Jackson was, quote unquote, bummed about his injury, but that he could barely move when he came out onto the sideline in the second half. So Lamar was really hurt. Lamar was actually hurt in this one. And, he came out looking good early in the game. And when he left the game, I was like, I don't even know what to say. I thought that at that point, I felt like the defense was playing well enough to sustain a lead. And it did up until the point where the offense needed to make a crucial response, but at that point, the Ravens offense with Tyler Huntley at quarterback kind of hit their ceiling, and that was that. But, again, that's going to be the excuse that's going to be able to be used by this Ravens coaching staff when they make their argument for running it back next season. Lamar was hurt. 8 was hurt. So give us another chance. 8 was hurt. And give us another draft, another chance. We'll make it happen. Big Stevie B. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen, Stevie B. Just give us one more shot with Lamar. Lamar, that was on Lamar last year. He got hurt. That was on him. He got hurt. His running ass. He got hurt. You feel me? And this is John Harbaugh talking here. He got hurt. Give us another year. We'll be all right. Him and Eric. That's going to be the excuse. Harbaugh says, I expect our team to keep fighting. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Oh my gosh, guys. I am pissed. I'm pissed. Harbaugh's getting fired. Mark it down, Sutton? I don't think so. Simply says, I'm popping bottles the day Harbaugh gets fired. He's not getting fired, brother. It's over with, bro. He's got the plot armor. The plot armor is there for John Harbaugh. There's no way that Steve Bisciotti has dominion over John Harbaugh in a contract negotiation right now. I know he just signed a 3-year extension this past offseason. But if they really wanted to talk about it and talk about, how, what the future of this Ravens team looks like going forward, leadership wise at head coach, Harbaugh is going to be able to say, look, bro, our starting quarterback was hurt last year for 5-6 games. You're going to have to give me another shot. You just signed me to a 3-year extension. I got 2 years left. Right? Like, give me another couple shots at this one, bro. Like, look, again, our quarterback got hurt. It's not on me. Our quarterback got hurt. That's where we're headed, unfortunately. Zay Flowers speaks after the Ravens lost to the Patriots. All right, let me let y'all hear this.
Going through a quarterback change midway through the game. What conversations there?
I mean, we got confidence in all our quarterbacks, so we believe in Snoop because he know the game plan, he studied it, he practiced, so we believe in him.
Take me through that last play.
I try to make a play. I see him overrunning it, so I cut back, try to get upfield, get up first. But
Zay Flowers said, I tried to make a play. He said, I saw them overrunning it, so I tried to cut back, try to make a play, but somebody was behind me. And I'm just like, bro. Bro, your very first season in this league, like, was stamped by a play where you got the ball punched out. You would think that in year 3 of your career, you're at a point now where at all costs, you're not going to let that happen. And I get it. It's towards the end of the game. Your starting quarterback's not in it anymore. And maybe you feel like the onus is on you to really, like, bring it full circle, bring the game home and make a big play. But it's like, bro, hang on to the football. I promise you, us Ravens fans, we will respect you a whole lot more. And let me not speak for all Ravens fans because I'm going to just speak for myself. We would respect you, or I would respect you a whole lot more if you just hung on to the football. Just hang on to the football. This is like, what, the second or third time this season where the Ravens were trying to scratch and claw to get back into a game, and they couldn't because you fumbled. It's insane. Alex says, gave that man Kyle Bowler and fired him. Harbaugh has Lamar and is given a leash. I am crying. I'm bawling, brother. I'm bawling. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Should have kept Billick. Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley, by the way. Yeah. At the end of the day, guys, again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. But at the end of the day, this Ravens team was never going to be or amount to anything this season because, number one, they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. We saw that tonight again. Number two, they can't get consistent blocking down low. So basically, it's all the trenches. You know, so I think Void put it in the chat earlier, like what his draft positioning and, you know, his choices he would like to be. But for me, if the first 3 selections, if 2 out of those 3 selections in the draft are not trenches, offensive line, defensive line, it's automatically a C- draft for me. Automatically. Because one too many times we've seen, you know, the lack of a pass rush, the lack of a consistent run blocking scheme, the lack of a consistent pass pro. Too many times this year have we seen that really, really kill the Ravens. And now the Ravens sit at 7-8 after losing 24-28 to the New England Patriots at home in Maryland. Just embarrassing. Now it's over. It's not mathematically over, but mentally for me, and you know, for everybody who watches this channel, I really want you to know that it's over. I've been watching this team for a long time, and I know you have as well. Let's be real with ourselves. this team is not where it needs to be this year. They're just not. So it is what it is. I appreciate you guys for coming through again to this episode of the show. Of course, we will be live tomorrow, me and Alex, reviewing this game. Honestly, reviewing this season, because it really seems like it's over now. But I appreciate all of y'all, of course. You know, ever since we started going live on this channel 5 years ago, you guys have been rocking out with us, supporting us, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, commenting on the videos, all that good stuff. So make sure, again, you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're new, do all that stuff. Also comment down below and hype this video as well. A new little feature that YouTube has out right now that really helps our algorithm. So we'd appreciate it if you guys did that. But again, this is my instant reaction to the Ravens losing 24-28 against the New England Patriots. Hopefully they can come back next season and make something shake, and maybe there's a difference at offensive line. Maybe they have a better pass rush attack, something, but something's got to change. I don't think anything will change, again, especially with our coaching staff. I think that our ownership is very comfortable with our coaching staff, and just, appreciating the highs a whole lot more than the lows, even though the highs don't consist of actual championships. It's ass backwards. I know. But I want to tell you guys again, stay positive, test negative, and even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This has been another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. I am your host, Sudden Death, and you're watching the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.